Good morning, everyone, and Shavua Tov. There's the story told about Yankel who fought in the Haganah, and he was captured by the British, and he was sent to prison, and his wife writes him a letter and says, Yankel, very nice, you're a brave guy, you fought in the Haganah, but now who's going to take care of the farm in the north and provide for the family? So he sends back a letter to his wife. He says, Rachel, don't worry. Beneath the farm, we have all the ammunition of the Haganah buried. So just make sure whatever you do, everything will work out, but don't touch the farm because all the ammunition is buried there. The next day, of course, the British army guards intercepted the letter. The next day, Rachel wakes up on the farm and she sees British soldiers surrounded the whole farm. And they have shovels and they start digging from morning to night. They dig up the whole field, they don't find anything. Next day she writes a letter, Yankel, what did you do? Now the British are after us and they destroyed the whole field, what are you going to do? So he writes back a letter, he says, Rachel, now that they plowed the field, you can start planting seeds. This week we remember the destruction of the temple. It's the week leading up to Tisha B'Av. And this Shabbat, we have a special Shabbat called Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat of vision. And it's named after the Haftorah Chazon Yesher, the vision of Isaiah, where he forecasts the destruction of the temple. And it's the saddest week on the Jewish calendar. And when we look at all the tragedies and calamities that have befallen the Jewish people, and we ask ourselves the million-dollar question, how did we survive? Yeshivas in Yerushalayim, miracles of Jewish survival around the world, rebirth, revival. What's the secret? And the secret is that no matter what happened to us, whatever destruction we experienced, you know what we did the next day? We started planting again. We never fell into despair. Elie Wiesel, who was, of course, the great Elie Wiesel, who was the conscience of the 6 million, the memory of the 6 million, in one of his books he writes that what was the greatness of Adam and Eve? He says, you know what the greatness of Adam and Eve is? He said he had two children, and one son murdered the other. He said, imagine a parent waking up to the realization that one of your children was murdered and your other son is a murderer. He says, many parents would despair and say, that's it, my life is over. One child was murdered, the other one is a murderer. But what do Adam and Eve do? They go and they have a third child, Shais. And what do they name the child Shais? They say, this will be the continuity. God gave us an additional child now. In other words, the greatness of Adam and Eve, it was not that they were created by God. Because that they didn't choose. God created them. That was their lot in life. They had no part of that creation. That was a gift. The greatness of Adam and Eve was when they faced the greatest darkness and despair in their life, they had the courage to start again, to continue, to not give up. That was the greatness of Adam and Eve. And that's the greatness of the Jewish people. What happened to us in our history, we can't control. But what we could control, and what we did control, and what we should be very proud of, is that after we lost 6 million of our brethren, we didn't say Jewish history is over. We said, let's start again. Let's start rebuilding. Let's start having more children, just like Adam and Eve had more children, so we could rebuild the Jewish nation. Let's go to Eretz Yisrael, Dafka now, after 1900 years of exile. Let's build yeshivas in Yerushalayim now and all over the world. That's the greatness of Jewish survival. That's the story of the Jewish people. The courage to continue, despite the greatest, darkest obstacles that we ever faced. And it's interesting, that's the way we look at Tisha B'Av itself. One of our traditions in the Talmud is that Mashiach will be born on Tisha B'Av. From the destruction will come rebirth. In the destruction, we see the seeds of rebirth once again. Just like Israel was born out of the tragedy of the Holocaust. As a matter of fact, the Barditcheva says, he turns Shabbos Chazon on its head. He says, you know what Chazon is? Literally, it's the vision of the destruction of the temple. But the Barditcheva says that there was once a mother who bought her child a suit. And the kid played in the dirt and ripped it and tore it and made it dirty. So the mother bought a second suit. And once again, the kid ruined the suit. So the mother bought a third suit. And the mother said, here it is hanging in the closet. When you show me you know how to act properly and you're mature enough, I'll give you the third suit. And every once in a while, the mother shows the kid the third suit to say, when you learn how to act properly, you'll get that suit. So says the Barditcheva, the word chazon means vision. He says, on this Shabbos, every Jew is shown a vision of the third temple. And God said, I built you one temple, you destroyed it through your actions. I built you another one, you destroyed it. Now I'll build a third one, but I won't give it to you till you show me you're ready. And this is the time to get ready to be worthy of the third temple, the rebuilding of the third Beis Hamikdash. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe says, when you want to do a construction project, the first thing you have to do is pull a demolition permit. You can't build until you destroy first. Says the Rebbe, the destruction of the temple was the demolition permit. But the whole purpose of the demolition is to build a third temple which will be bigger and greater and everlasting, eternal. And therefore we shouldn't only see Tisha B'Av as a sad day, but we should see it as a day that if we're worthy, it could be the beginning of the biggest reconstruction ever in Jewish history, because the key to Jewish survival is to always look to the future with hope and with optimism.